Hello and welcome back to another episode of Underrated. And today we're going to be diving into Napoleon Hill's brain once again today. And he's going to be sharing some insights from a guy named Dale Carnegie. I like this one a lot. And I think you guys and girls are going to as well. So he's talking about success. He's talking about the ingredients to success. And he applies the mastermind principle that we've been talking about in probably one of the most successful men to ever walk the earth, which was Dale Carnegie. I'm sure most people have heard of him. So let's listen to this. We're going to listen to about 5 minutes. It's actually 5 minutes on the nose, but I think these are kind of sped up, or they were. Playback speed. Let's do it at 1.25. I like 1.25. Might as well save a minute here. So here we go. We're going to turn this on, and then we're going to discuss a story from Napoleon and relating to Dale Carnegie.
The evidence with which to back up my case will be presented in the 16 lessons of which this course is composed. The facts out of which this course has been prepared have been gathered through more than 25 years of business and professional experience, and my only explanation of the rather free use of the personal pronoun throughout the course is that I am writing from first-hand experience. Before this reading course on the law of success was published, the manuscripts were submitted to 2 prominent universities with the request that they be read by competent professors with the
Oh yeah, I hate jumping in here, but I do think this is important because I wanted to put this in. I almost skipped this part, but he's talking about how he sent this course to a couple different university professors, and one of them came back and said that this should be taught to every student in America. And it made me think about how different the world would be today if a couple things happened back in the 20s, 30s, but especially if they actually took this course and started teaching it in schools instead of just feeding propaganda down kids' throats all day long for 100 years. How much different the world would be if more people thought like Napoleon Hill and the principles in this course. I think that the world would be night and day different than it is today. So let's just listen to this because that's kind of what the university professor says. But that's just what made me think about it, is like, why not? And when you understand the education system and how it was designed, and who designed it and why they designed it that way. It had a lot to do with, I believe it was Rockefeller. Was it Rockefeller? Or I think it was. But they essentially wanted to make employees out of the population because they were moving into the industrial age. And so they redid all their curriculums and schools to make employees. They didn't want to teach people to think for themselves. They wanted people to be employees. They wanted kids, and it's just amazing how much you can form a mind that early on in somebody's life. And I just think how different the world would be if we had applied some of these principles instead of teaching people to be slaves.
Object of eliminating or correcting any statements that appeared to be unsound from an economic viewpoint. This request was complied with, and the manuscripts were carefully examined, with the result that not a single change was made, with the exception of 1 or 2 slight changes in wording. One of the professors who examined the manuscripts expressed himself, in part, as follows. It is a tragedy that every boy and girl who enters high school is not efficiently drilled on the 15 major parts of your reading course on the law of success. It is regrettable that the great university with which I am connected, and every other university, does not include your course as a part of its curriculum. Inasmuch as this reading course is intended as a map or blueprint that will guide you in the attainment of that coveted goal called success, may it not be well here to define success. Success is the development of the power with which to get whatever one wants in life without interfering with the rights of others. I would lay particular stress upon the word power, because it is inseparably related to success. We are living in a world and during an age of intense competition, and the law of the survival of the fittest is everywhere in evidence. Because of these facts, all who would enjoy enduring success must go about its attainment through the use of power. And what is power? Power is organized energy or effort. This course is properly called the law of success for the reason that it teaches how one may organize facts and knowledge and the faculties of one's mind into a unit of power. This course brings you a definite promise, namely, that through its mastery and application, you can get whatever you want with but 2 qualifying words, within reason. This qualification takes into consideration your education, your wisdom or your lack of it, your physical endurance, your temperament, and all of the other qualities mentioned in the 16 lessons of this course as being the factors most essential in the attainment of success. Without a single exception, those who have attained unusual success have done so, either consciously or unconsciously, through the aid of all or a portion of the 15 major factors of which this course is compiled. If you doubt this statement, then master these 16 lessons so you can go about the analysis with reasonable accuracy and analyze such men as Carnegie, Rockefeller, Hill, Harriman, Ford, and others of this type who have accumulated great fortunes of material wealth, and you will see that they understood and applied the principle of organized effort which runs, like a golden cord of indisputable evidence, throughout this course. Nearly 20 years ago, I interviewed Mr. Carnegie for the purpose of writing a story about him. During the interview, I asked him to what he attributed his success. With a merry little twinkle in his eyes, he said, "Young man, before I answer your question, will you please define your term, success?" After waiting until he saw that I was somewhat embarrassed by his request, he continued, "By success, you have reference to my money, have you not?" I assured him that money was the term by which most people measured success, and he then said, "Oh, well, if you wish to know how I got my money, if that is what you call success, I will answer your question by saying that we have a mastermind here in our business, and that mind is made up of more than a score of men who constitute my personal staff of superintendents and managers and accountants and chemists and other necessary types. No one person in this group is the mastermind of which I speak, but the sum total of the minds in the group, coordinated, organized, and directed to a definite end in a spirit of harmonious cooperation, is the power that got my money for me. No two minds in the group are exactly alike, but each man in the group does the thing that he is supposed to do, and he does it better than any other person in the world could do it." Then and there, the seed out of which this course has been developed was sown in my mind. But that seed did not take root or germinate until later. This interview marked the beginning of years of research, which led, finally, to the discovery of the principle of psychology described in the introductory lesson as the mastermind.
Dale Carnegie, the king. God, I love that. So basically, when Dale Carnegie, one of the most successful people to walk the earth, was asked how he became successful in the terms of accruing as much money and power as he did. And I really like that answer because I feel like that's just a representation of how his tone towards his team would have been the whole time. And he said, the sum total of the minds in the group coordinated, organized, and directed to a definite end in a spirit of harmonious cooperation. And it sounds like that was kind of the inspiration for this whole book that Napoleon wrote and everything that he did, not just the laws of success, but also with the most famous book, which was Think and Grow Rich. But if we go back to our main principles here of this channel and what we're doing here, we go back to the main point, which is doing more than paid for. And part of that is becoming more valuable. And that's what underrated is. It means that you're doing more than you get credit for. You're adding more value than you get back initially. And the formula here to increase your value by 1,000%, increase your income by 1,000% over this next decade, has to do with getting 1% better every day. And so if you look at these things, becoming more valuable, becoming more disciplined and focused, and growing your network, and that's what this is, right? And I was thinking about this morning as I was listening to this and preparing for the segment here. I was thinking about how does this tie together? And if you think about it, it's the network aspect of this, right? Because when you think about Dale Carnegie being one of the most successful people to ever live and what he built, the steel company that he built, how did he do that? Our human minds kind of go to this place of like, oh, well, he had 1,000 people working for him. He had chemists, he had engineers, he had salespeople, he had accountants, he had all these people around him. But where do you think that started? It started with one person and then another person. And what I wanted to share with this and kind of what I've thought about here, I want to write a couple different things down. This was an important one. So the first thing he said there is that success is the development of the power which to get whatever one wants in life without, of course, he always throws this in here, which I like, without interfering with the rights of others. And then he says power is inseparably related to success. And he also said power is an organized energy of effort. And when you think about this quote right here, success is the development of the power which to get whatever one wants in life without interfering with the rights of others. But if you just kind of trim that, you say success is the power to get whatever one wants in life. Simple version of that. Success is the power to get whatever one wants in life. And so when you think about it this way, we've been talking about this mastermind thing, right? And so going back to what I was saying there with Dale Carnegie, starting with one person, one idea, that's what starts it. But then the idea of this mastermind group is that, let's say you had Dale Carnegie. That's who started this. And how this whole thing was built is he would have formed a mastermind with somebody else. So let's just call this guy Laddie Carnegie. So these two would have formed a mastermind. And so let's say that Dale had really good sales ability. Let's say that he had a really large network of people. Let's say that he was incredibly talented in what? What else would Dale Carnegie have? Let's say he had a lot of experience in the steel industry. Steel experience. He didn't, but let's just say that he did. And he got together with this other person number 2. And maybe this person was very technically sound. Maybe he had a good understanding of finances. And maybe he was very organized, we'll say, organized. So then the mastermind here, this is the beauty of it. And I never really thought about it through this lens before. But if you think about it this way, all of a sudden you have person 1, which is Dale Carnegie. He had the idea for this steel corporation. And then you had Laddie Carnegie, who he joined up with, he partnered with. And this person had much different skill set than Dale did. And so you put these two people together. And if they're both working together for a direct aim, and they're in harmony, all of a sudden you have all of this now. So this new mastermind, you have these two people, and it forms this mastermind, which now this mastermind has all these different skill sets and resources and tools and network that these two people had. You put those two together, and all of a sudden you're much more. And so for anybody out there who's thinking about this stuff, I think it's important to note that you can't really do everything on your own. You can. I mean, it's a little bit easier now from 1928 today than it was, back then because of technology and things like that. You can have a couple AI agents, and those agents can have their own team. But I still think that the main part of this is you have to know yourself. You have to know what skills you have. And if you want to build something really strong, it starts with another person. You have to partner with somebody else, and you have to find somebody who has the skills that you don't have, because then you form this mastermind group. So you have two people working together, and you form this mastermind that now has all the skills, the best aspects of both. And you create something much bigger, much more powerful than you could just do yourself. And sometimes I feel like Napoleon's talking to me when he says this, but I know that there's other people who watch this who are going through the same kind of thing right now and wondering how to scale or grow whatever it is that they've been working on. And I think if you think about it through this lens, I think it makes a lot more sense. And I think the real power here is finding the right person or the right people to work with. And then, of course, you add one more person. And then all of a sudden, your mastermind, the three of you, it turns into something even more powerful. And that's the whole idea with this. But the key is that these people have to be working in harmony with you. You have to have a goal that you're working towards, because if you don't, it fails. That's the whole point of this mastermind. It either is very powerful or it doesn't work at all, or it's in fact poisonous. So I thought that was a good way to think about this and a really good lesson today. And kind of the last thing that he said there at the end of that, he said, each man in the group does the thing that he is supposed to do. And this is the most important part here, because I believe that this was kind of the thing that leads to harmony and people working together. He said that, and he does it better than any other person in the world could do it. So he believed he found the right people for the right jobs, and finding those pieces and putting those pieces together and thinking about it in this way, having so much confidence and belief in those other people, that creates harmony. That creates something magical. And that's how you build something as big as Dale Carnegie did. So I thought this was a really good lesson, I think, for where we are, what we're talking about, what we talk about here every day. And I hope you enjoyed that one today. So a bit of a shorter one, I think, but that's what I got. So again, if you've been enjoying these shows, this underrated channel, best way to support is through this QR code right beside my head here. And I do appreciate it. We've had some small zaps, some big zaps coming in, but it's a feedback loop for me. So that's the most important thing. And that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson today from Napoleon based on Dale and my own kind of interpretation of it. So hope you're having a great day today, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. And to everybody else, Sin's here. Sin says Andrew Carnegie equals steel mogul slash. Oh, it was Andrew Carnegie. What did I say? Dale? Sorry, messed it up. Were they brothers? So it was Andrew Carnegie that he's talking about here. Oops. Oh well. Thanks for correcting me there. I actually thought that was the same person, Andrew Carnegie and Dale Carnegie. But yeah, I have Dale Carnegie's book, I'm pretty sure, back here. Somewhere. Good call, Sin. Sin is here. Josh is here. All the boys and girls are here today. Okay, Scotty boy, let's hit it. I gotta go here. I gotta hit the road. I gots to go. David T said Andrew Carnegie. Yes, you're right. You know what I meant. Actually, I said Laddie Carnegie. Oh, well. Just more proof that Pobody's nerfect around here. Pobody is nerfect. But I like David T corrected me and